Cronkite Sports Live. My name is Chancellor Johnson. He's Spencer Hardenbergh. We've got a lot to get to, starting with ASU football.
Yes, we do, Chance. ASU looks to bounce back this weekend after a tough weekend in San Diego. They lost to the Aztecs. It was the first game since 2015 that they were ranked, and they lost in a game that many thought they should have won. Eliav Gabai has more on that game.
ASU football wrapped up its non-conference slate with its first road game against San Diego State. It was a homecoming for defensive coordinator Danny Gonzalez, who spent the last 7 years with the Aztecs. For most of the first half, Gonzalez's defense had their way, and the offense was in the driver's seat. Then, late in the second, Arizona State head coach Herm Edwards made a crucial decision to go for it on fourth down deep in Aztec territory that failed.
Going on the road like this, and the game it was in, we had momentum on offense. I thought we could make 4th and 1, and I'll do it again when I deem necessary. I'll do it again, and hopefully our defense won't allow them to go 90 yards and score.
The Sun Devil defense had no answers for SDSU's run game in the second half, allowing 311 rushing yards on the game.
Well, they've been hearing from me that we're not as good as everybody was giving the credit for. So that message won't change. We've got a lot of work to do. None of our goals have changed. We still got everything in front of us. They'll get a good lesson tonight. I mean, we got out-physicaled by a really good football team.
While the Aztec offense ran all over Arizona State, overall, the Sun Devils haven't exactly helped themselves either. Through 3 games, they've been flagged for 22 penalties. This time last year, they had just 12. Their discipline isn't the only area of concern offensively, as ASU has rushed for just 80 yards in its last 2 contests. Redshirt senior quarterback Manny Wilkins blamed himself for the lack of production on the ground.
I don't know what the stat was, but we rushed the football absolutely terribly, and you can't win football games like that. So, I got to do a better job of putting us in a position to win a football game. So that's on me.
Wilkins and Arizona State showed a lot of fight down the stretch behind redshirt sophomore Frank Darby, who finished with a career-high 127 receiving yards. But the effort fell short due to an overturned catch ruling in the final seconds and resulted in an Aztec win 28-21. The Sun Devils have a chance to bounce back in their first conference game of the season at Washington against the number 10 Huskies on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. For Cronkite Sports, I am Eliav Gabai.
The Sun Devils are in Washington for their Pac-12 opener, and so is our WCSN football reporter Brady Klein live in Seattle. Brady, before we get into some of the X's and O's, what's the mood of the team a day out from their big game against the Huskies?
Yeah, thanks, Chance. I'm out here in Seattle, and the mood for ASU is much different than the skies. It's not gloomy, it's actually energetic. I actually saw a lot of Sun Devil fans down in Pike Place Market this morning getting their morning coffee, and I even saw a guy in an ASU polo catching a fish at the fish market. So the mood here is very fun for the team, though. It's going to be upbeat this weekend after coming off of a loss last week against SDSU in San Diego. So 2 road games in a row. The Sun Devils are looking to bounce back last week after losing, but this week against a top 10 opponent in Washington, it'll be a very tough game and a very hostile condition here in Seattle.
Yeah, tough loss for ASU in their first road game of the season, and now they'll try to be the first team to hand Washington a loss at Husky Stadium since 2015. Now, there are a lot of interesting matchups coming into Saturday's game, including ASU's defense versus Washington's high-powered offense. ASU has shown the ability to get after the quarterback, so how do they match up there?
Yeah, some of these big matchups we're going to watch out for today is Trey Adams. He was the left tackle for this Husky team, but he's out for the season with back surgery he had just 2 weeks ago. He was a preseason All-American, and so the stout defensive line for ASU should be able to penetrate that backfield much easier than they would have if he were to be playing and get to Jake Browning. Browning's been the starting quarterback for the last couple years, and he earned the job this year, but there's a lot of question with Jake Browning moving forward, and this game will be a proving factor for him with the stout defense for ASU.
Yeah, a tough loss for the Huskies, losing their left tackle as they'll try to keep Browning's jersey clean against this Sun Devil defense who ranks 4th in the nation in sacks. Brady, I'm going to ask you to be our weatherman. Obviously, rain is common out there in the Northwest, so how's it looking for tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised. It's dry right now here in Seattle, but there's some rain in the forecast for later this weekend, even tonight, and going forward in tomorrow night's game. So I'm going to try to stay dry. I brought my camera cover, so hopefully it can stay dry throughout the game.
Brady Klein live in Seattle. Make sure you keep that umbrella handy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
To follow all of our coverage from Washington, check out CronkiteSports.com.
As we dive into conference play this week, The Pac-12 has a handful of teams that could be potentially ranked this season. However, most of these teams do come from the Northern Division, as they currently have all 3 teams in the Pac-12 that are ranked. This leaves the South wide open for ASU and for many others. With more on the Conference of Champions, here's Jacob Rudner.
Thanks, guys. The Pac-12 South is usually known for its tough competition and high-octane football teams, but 2018 is starting to feel like an exception. Through the first 3 weeks of the college football season, the Pac-12 South has no ranked teams, and only one of its members remain undefeated, Colorado. With an overall record of 2-1, ASU could look to take advantage of the division-wide woes to start the season, giving them an opportunity to win the South for the second time in school history. But to do that, Herm Edwards and the Sun Devils will have to dominate their in-pack games, which kick off this week against the number 10 ranked Washington. Washington had a big season last year. They finished the 2017 season ranked 16th in the nation, and quarterback Jake Browning was an early frontrunner for the 2018 Heisman Trophy. But this year, the most frightening thing about the Huskies is just the number 10 next to their name, as the overall statistics are not terribly impressive. In the Pac-12 alone, UW ranked 6th in total offense, averaging 452 yards a game. And sitting right behind them are the Sun Devils, who average just 17 fewer yards. The odds are not totally stacked against the Devils this week, nor are they stacked against them against any of their Pac-12 opponents. USC has looked lost to start the season, with just a 1-2 record. They lost to Texas last week along with their top 25 ranking, and again, ASU has a favorable matchup against a team that should be better than them. The Devils take on the Trojans at USC on October 27th. The best part is the list doesn't stop there. UCLA and Chip Kelly have been no-shows this year, losing all 3 of their games to start the season by a margin of no less than 9 points. Utah has started the season well, but no better than ASU, as they also have a 2-1 record through 3 weeks. Oregon State, like the rest of the Pac-12 South, has gotten off to a slow start at a record of 1-2. Their defense has been non-existent, allowing a combined 162 points to their opponents in just the first 3 weeks. I'm no fortune teller, but if I were, my crystal ball says that ASU could make a strong run this year and climb back into the top 25. So look out, because the return could very well start this week in Washington. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming off back-to-back losing seasons, the ASU Women's Soccer team is looking to rebound this year and get above 500. They're off to a good 5-2 start. However, they know better than anyone that the Pac-12 Conference is an entirely different monster, as they've lost 16 of their last 22 conference matches. With more ahead of Saturday's Pac-12 opener, here's Lisa Babica.
Last season, the ASU Women's Soccer program finished 2-7-2 in conference play, but this season's team is headed in a different direction.
We got amazing camaraderie. The team is so tight. I mean, you listen to them behind. I mean, they're proud to be Sun Devils, and it's that type of chemistry that goes a long way when it comes to the tougher games in the season. And next week we've got an extremely tough one at Cal. So we're excited though, and we've managed to reach the same number in the win column as last year, and we've got 11 games to try and improve upon it. So we're going in the right direction for sure.
By playing 7 non-conference games, the Sun Devils are able to prepare for conference. Senior captain Gemma Perfield has helped explain to first-year players what they should expect from Pac-12 play.
Yeah, we're just trying to explain to us a bit like the game we played against Baylor. They're going to be big, they're going to be physical, and they're going to be technically sound footballers too. So, I mean, it's massive for us to play with confidence, and I think that's a big thing that we're trying to install in the freshmen. Play with confidence, express yourself, and work hard, and with that the results will come. We know they've got the quality and the talent, so we just want them to express themselves and play to the best of their ability, and by doing that I think they're more than good enough to compete in the Pac-12.
ASU Women's Soccer just finished up their non-conference play at 5-2 on the year so far. They head into Pac-12 conference play this weekend. They travel to Cal, Berkeley, and then Colorado and Utah. For 19 of these players, they've never played in a Pac-12 conference match, so it'll be interesting to see how the team matches up. From Tempe, Arizona, for Cronkite Sports, I'm Lisa Babica.
All right, thank you very much, Liesl. And now we'll get into the social media segment. And for that, we have our guru, Alex Gall. Alex, thanks for being here today, man.
It's great to be here, guys. You know, I got a tough act to follow up with Tyler, bringing you guys wings here last week.
I mean, I was expecting food. I'm a little disappointed, but that's all right. That's all right.
Well, I didn't bring you guys wings, but I brought you some pretty fire tweets, if you guys know what I mean.
Okay, all right.
So we got this first one here. It's from Speak of the Devils podcast, and they were talking about if you had one play left and you needed a touchdown, what Sun Devil are you throwing to? So, guys, in the words of Jalen Strong, who y'all got?
Like anyone, like in history.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming this is through the program. So with Jalen, I don't know why he's tweeting this because it's the easy answer for me. It is Nikhil Harry,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
Easy.
Yeah.
2018 bias.
Oh, come on.
Well, no, you have the one-on-one. No one's getting them. It's got to be Nikhil. It's got to be Nikhil. Yeah.
I'd have to go with Nikhil too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm biased as well. So we got to move into our second tweet, guys. This one coming not from ASU specifically, but it's about the fire in the press box this week. You guys hear about this at Wrigley Field?
Yeah.
There was a fire in the press box, and one of the guys from SB Nation decided to be funny to tweet it when the takes are a teensy bit too hot.
Okay,
so guys, in the spirit of this fire going on at Wrigley Field this week, what are your hottest takes in ASU athletics?
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm going to double down off that first tweet and say Nikhil Harry is the best wide receiver in the nation. You heard it here first.
Okay.
On CSN.
I like that. I'm gonna go with volleyball here. We know they had a tough season last year, but they will be 500 at home.
Oh, you got me there for a second.
At home, they will be 500 at home. All right.
500 total. I mean,
Hey, baby steps.
I think five wins is a pretty reasonable expectation for this season. You know, knowing they're coming in 0-20 from last year. But we got to move to this last week. This one just a fun one, guys. I saw this yesterday, and I just started laughing uncontrollably for about a minute straight. And it's coming from a guy who realized that the beats per minute of the song Party Rock Anthem from 2012 is very similar to a song from Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and we just got to play the video.
You got some moves, huh?
Quite some moves.
Alex, I might need to see you hit those moves real quick.
Oh, no. That was the question I was going to ask you guys. And Jedi ASU having a little bit of fun with this one, too, saying, thank you, Lord, for this. And I'm thankful for it, too, guys, because it gives me an opportunity to ask you guys, what is your favorite dance move?
I'll let you take this one.
If I come out this little Jackie here,
Oh,
I
no,
got a nice little booty rock,
damn.
Hey, people hip with it too, Something light, not too much. I can't show you too much.
You get the hip action going?
This too,
All right, Spence, you got to follow that one up. That's tough performance to beat.
See, I'm not much of a dancer, but I'd say my favorite move is the shoot. When someone's hopping out the door and they're just oh damn, I'm gonna trip. I'm gonna trip over wires back here. I'd say that's
it makes you too
it's all it's inhibited me in my artisticness. So,
all right, well, you guys have put me in a tough spot now because now I have to follow that up.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna go with the classic.
Okay, I see you.
No, nay,
No, yet.
That's
no,
all right.
not quite.
That's all right. One step at a time.
I don't quite got the moves you guys do.
Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was great. Hope my tweets were as fire as I thought they were, and I hope you guys liked it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. All right, it takes a lot to be an athlete, and no, dropping 20 at your local rec league doesn't count. So I'm talking long, hard hours, day in and day out, perfecting your craft. It takes going the extra mile and doing anything you can to give yourself that competitive edge. It sounds a lot easier than it looks, and our Jackson Zuber and Nick Zeller-Singh found out the hard way.
We're out here at the Para Club in Tempe, Arizona. He's Jackson Zuber, I'm Troy Tauscher, and today we are joined by ASU Beach Volleyball player Lauren Weintraub, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking Jackson through some of the drills and practice routines that ASU student athletes do. Lauren, I got one question for you. How do you think Jackson is going to hold up?
I'm very confident in him. I've seen him play before in high school. He's a big baller.
Jackson, how are you feeling?
Not as confident as that. Hoping I don't hurt myself. No! Oh my God.
Jackson first attempted the triangle setting drill, where the ball moves between a tosser, a passer, and a setter. The problem is this drill requires 3 people. Fortunately, WCSN reporter Nick Zeller-Singh came with us, and he was willing to help out Jackson through his trial. After a few bumps in the road, the guys got better, but their next challenge was serve-receive practice, trying to receive a serve from an actual trained volleyball player.
Oh God! Oh my God!
The two of them also tried their hand at serving, to varying degrees of success. And last was the hitting lines, where the ball moves between a hitter and a setter before the hitter attempts a kill over the net. This one definitely proved to be the most challenging of the 3.
Oh, Nick!
After some practice, there was only one way to end the afternoon, with a quick game of one-on-one between the 2 rookies.
Dang it!
I don't like to defend left.
That's it!
Shoot! We have a winner!
Well, that concludes a long day of training for these guys. It's about 104 degrees out here. So, Nick, Jackson, how are you feeling?
I'm tired, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, but beating Nick has me feeling like a champion.
Nick?
You know what? I'm definitely out of shape. I don't know how you guys could do this every day.
All right, Lauren, so you were out here helping them out and giving a little commentary when they played one-on-one. What do you think? They got a shot at making the team?
I think with a lot of hard work and dedication, you guys could be our mascots.
Well, Lauren, thank you for your time. We appreciate you showing us a little bit of your routine as a student athlete. And thank you all for joining us here at the Para Club in Tempe as we take a look inside the training regimen of an ASU athlete. But for Nick Sellersing and Jackson Zuber, I'm Troy Tauscher reporting for Cronkite Sports.
Well, now that you see what happens when our people step out from behind the camera, let's stay in front of it, Chance. Jump into the way it is, the way it's going to work. We each get 3 questions, debate a little bit. A winner is picked by the producer and gets to rant. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Question number 1, let's start it out. ASU and Washington, it's the big game this week. Does ASU pull off the upset?
I don't think so. The Huskies are a very good home team, and I know ASU has had some success against the Huskies as of late, but I think they come up short on Saturday.
I think the stars align. I think they come back home with the win.
Okay, well, we will see. The Browns had their first win in 635 days yesterday. Currently, the ASU volleyball team was without a conference win in 664 days. When will they be able to break the streak?
I got against Washington State. I think it's going to be their home game in Tempe. I think they're 1-4 in conference play after that one.
Well, I think they follow the Browns' lead and get it done this Sunday versus the Cal Bears.
All right. And now, third question. Let's go over to soccer. Champions League just started up. If ASU and the Pac-12 were to do a Champions League format, how far does ASU go?
I don't know. They might be lucky to qualify.
Yeah. See, I think they do qualify. I think they have Gemma Perfield. She's that player that's going to carry them. We see it every year in Champions League. I think that's how it'll go.
When you have a player like Perfield on your team, you always have a chance.
But, absolutely.
You know, as you know, I'm usually the winner. It should be me again this week. Yeah, back-to-back champs.
I like my chances. I like my chances.
Come on, Troy. Come on. What we got?
Oh. See, he knew I needed it. He knew I needed it. 1-0. All right. So, Herm Edwards, he has his Pac-12 baptism this week, and boy, there are going to be a lot of people watching. The Huskies are a tough way to get initiated into conference play, but we have to remember one thing. The Huskies have cowered to ASU for a long time now. Something in that Seattle area just changes when the Sun Devils come to town. Washington has won one of their last 6 home games against ASU, and on top of that, this one win is the only one they've had against ASU in over a decade. Now you can look at this staunch Husky defense, allowing just 10.3 points per game this season, and I raise you a Sun Devil team who hasn't scored less than 7 points in a game since 2008. This is the longest streak in the nation at 124 games. A Husky defense that feasts on turnovers, an ASU running back hasn't lost a fumble in 22 straight games, 593 consecutive carries. This is a perfect storm for Herm Edwards and the Sun Devils to shake up the rankings and show the country they will be a team that demands respect this season. I think they get the upset and come back home ranked, and that's the way it is.
Now it's time for top plays. Coming in at number 3, Manny Wilkins connects to Brandon Ayuk for his first career Sun Devil touchdown. Little shimmy there, stiff arm into the end zone. That's a nice way to get your first touchdown as a Sun Devil. How about that play there, Spence?
Brandon Ayuk, he's got many more of those touchdowns to come. He's just getting started. Let's stick with that game for number 2. You all know this guy, another wide receiver on the team, N'Keal Harry. Get out of my weight room. That's my ball. I'm telling you, there are a lot of good wide receivers in this nation, but very few of them can do what he does on a daily basis in that one-on-one package. That's just unstoppable.
Yep, and he might just be the very best in the nation, Spence. Coming in at number 1, Gemma Perfield with the low cross, and it's deflected into the goal. Hey, gotta get it how you live. Goal! Sun Devils. Gemma, nice cross there.
Gemma Perfield on some FIFA stuff.
Whatever works, right?
You got to use the other team to your advantage sometimes.
Absolutely.
Put it in the net. All right, well, thank you guys very much for watching. For Chancellor Johnson, I'm Spencer Hardenbergh. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.